Hi guys, I'm Janet from World Anvil, and today I have for you, in celebration of Gary Gygax's birthday, the inventor and developer of DnD, a little compilation video about how different people got into D&D. And guys, these stories are so heartwarming, and I'm sure that you will see some faces that you recognise.
Hello, my name is Guy from How to Be a Great GM. You know, I always remember my first time getting into Dungeons & Dragons. It was the red box, and there was a carrion crawler and a well just outside of the first castle in the prescribed adventure. My character died to that carrion crawler, and that got me hooked. I mean, what's not to like? Carrion crawlers, castles, knights, oh, it was so cool. Well, that's how I got into role-playing.
So I was asked, how did I start playing D&D? D&D was actually banned most of my life. It was seen as demon summoning by my family. But I started playing when I was about 17, when a friend who was came over for the day. They suggested, you know what, let's play D&D, and I was like, oh, all right. And we looked up the SOD on our mobile phones, and ended up playing, and none of us really knew what we were doing. And I ended up accidentally slamming the door on the face of a fellow player's character, locking them outside with some gargoyles. But it was really fun, and it got the ball rolling, and I found this amazing community that was just so accepting of me, and I wouldn't give it up for the world. It's been a huge part of my life now for 4 years or so. 5, I can't do maths, but yeah, that is how I started D&D. How did you start? I'd love to hear.
Walking around San Diego Comic-Con Sunday night, thinking about how I started playing Dungeons & Dragons. Well, I was 8 years old, and I found one of the boxes in my parents' basement and picked it up, and because I was already reading at a very high level, I started reading these fantasy pages and understood the character sheets and everything. So from 8 to 15, I was creating characters and telling my own story. It was pretty amazing. And then I found other people who played when I was 15, and I was like, I'm playing with you. And they're like, okay. And yeah, some of my best friends. And that is my origin story.
Hey there, I'm Brian COLIN, Creature Curator, and way back in the mid-'80s, when I was in 4th grade, I was sitting out on the back porch with some friends at their house, lighting things on fire with matches I'd found in my house. Their older sister came out, saw what we were doing, smacked us all on the back of the heads, grabbed the matches, went inside. A few minutes later, she came out with the red box, basic edition of D&D. She gave it to us, told us to stay out of trouble, and I never looked back. That's how I got my start playing D&D, and I can't wait to play more.
So I started D&D when I was about 10 years old, and there was an after-school club at school. I never would have been interested, except for the fact that my sister had played like one game, and I wanted to be as cool as she was. So that was my first game. We ended up getting naked. It was hilarious. The characters, not us, not the children. No. And then I moved schools, and that was it, really. I didn't play for years and years and years until I met my husband, Demetrius. Now, you guys probably know him. He's the co-founder of World Anvil, and he said to me in a very sheepish way, "Oh yeah, I also play, Dungeons and Dragons." And I think he was expecting me to go, "Oh, that's so silly, ha ha ha." But of course, I had played when I was 10, so I was like, "Oh my god, that's so badass, let's play!" And we did our first campaign, and we never looked back, and then we got married. I think that's a sign of Dungeons and Dragons making people fall in love.
I was interested in what Demetrius was world building for his world on World Anvil, and he told me that he was building his world for a campaign in D&D 5th edition, and that's kind of how I got hooked into it. And I played my first game, made my first character, got very confused about character creation, but really fun, and that's how I started D&D.
Back Back in the 90s, I owned a copy of the board game Hero Quest, and I remember that no one ever wanted to play with me, although I had all the expansions. So it kind of ended in the cupboard. About 4 years ago, my team asked me if we want to do a game night once a month, and I said, well, I really like the idea, that's cool. And I remember that we all independently were watching Crit Roll at that time. So when we tried to decide on a game, we quickly came to the idea that we want to try D&D. And honestly, we have never quit since then. For the past 4 years, we're playing twice a month, and I just love the way how you can, as a game master, tell the stories, craft adventures for your players, live through them all together with each and every one on the table. You can make cool maps for them and impress them, and it's like I'm always looking forward for the next game night. So all I can say is thank you, D&D.
G'day guys, my name's Michael and I am the Dead Aussie Gamer, a professional game master from Perth, Western Australia. I started role-playing in 2009 when my girlfriend, who had been doing a thesis on Dungeons & Dragons, ran me my very first game of D&D 3.0 3.5. From that moment, I was hooked. As a performer myself, it was just the kind of game to help me build up my skills, my confidence, and of course, expand my own creativity. Since then, I've turned it into pretty much my life's work, and I have loved getting to know and play with so many amazing people from all around the world.
So guys, how did you get into D&D? Or are you not into D&D yet? In which case, go to worldanvil.com to get started with your first campaign. It will make everything easier, from planning your first session to organizing your characters and your players, because sheesh, those players need a little bit of organization. It'll help you with everything, and I will put some resources for new players in the description below. Please share your stories of how you started playing D&D in the comments, guys. I would love to hear them. And if you've not started yet, please let us know when you intend to start, because guys, it changes lives, it opens people's minds, and it is a beautiful hobby. I cannot recommend it enough. Alright guys, until I see you next time, grab your hammer and go world build!